안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕호입니다. 오늘은 금요일이에요. 불타는 금요일이죠. 오늘도 확진자가 100명이 넘었다고 방금 뉴스에서 봤는데 왜 안 줄어들까요? 왜 이렇게 일단 운동하겠습니다. 간단하게 스트레칭 좀 하고 팔굽혀펴기랑 할게요. 지금 운동할 땐 CNN이죠.
And I rather suspect that a majority of Americans feel the same way.
Science. If I were to get into an argument with you right now about the fact that, you know what, we're doing better with COVID than, a lot of you guys want us to believe, I would absolutely wind up having to apologize on air, if not tonight, tomorrow night, and I may be off TV for a forced vacation, because it would be reckless disregard of the truth. And yet, the president packs rallies with people who are often in vulnerable communities and states, and personally check a lot of risk boxes, no mask, tightly together, and they believe him that we're rounding the corner. What does that say about this election's impact on respect for science?
Yeah, well, my faith tradition has the well-known teaching, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. We won't be free of this pandemic until we listen to the acknowledged truth. And we know enough to understand that these virologists and epidemiologists who've studied this field of science for years and years are far more qualified than Donald Trump to make decisions about it. It's the same thing with the climate crisis, Chris, because the climate scientists have been warning us for so long that this human-caused global warming pollution is threatening the entire future of human civilization. So just as with the pandemic, we can either decide to act on the basis of the best available facts and listen to the scientists who obviously know what they're talking about, or we can succumb to the temptation to do whatever seems to be politically convenient in the short term. The latter is what Donald Trump is doing, and it's a grave disservice to our country, and most of all, to his supporters who he has duped into getting themselves in a very dangerous situation. As Sanjay Gupta has told you, they trace the spread of the pandemic after these maskless, reckless rallies. It really is an astonishing performance by the president, and so disrespectful and reckless, disrespectful to his own supporters.
As the head of the Climate Reality Project, this is a big part of moral responsibility that you guys argue all the time, is that, the absence of leadership here is going to cost people lives and livelihoods going forward. Isn't that so much more acutely true right now with the pandemic? I don't understand how the president can't be responsible for hundreds of thousands of people getting sick in his own communities, of followers who are recklessly disregarding the accuracy of messaging in a show of support for him.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. Many analysts have used the word cult in the phrase cult-like. There is so much of a temptation on the part of some of his supporters to want to believe everything he says, and it's tragic that he's letting them down so completely and so utterly. A president of the United States has to care about the whole country, has to make the best decisions possible, and not just look for personal benefit or a personal angle or personal profit in dealing with the issues that come into the Oval Office. And that's what Donald Trump has done. It's wrong. I think most people understand it's wrong. I have lots of Republican friends who've been shaking their heads and saying, look, it can't be soon enough that we get this guy out of there.
Well, look, the polls are tightening. This is a very divided country. This is going to be every minute up through Election Day and probably into the day past it. What is your biggest fear Pandemic doesn't go away. Biden wins, Trump wins. We still have pandemic. What is your big fear about what happens if the president wins with respect to the pandemic and, by extension, dealing with other scientific urgencies like global climate change?
Well, you know, to take the last part of your question first, we're in an extraordinarily hopeful time, Chris, because China, Japan, South Korea, and the European Union have all, just in the last few weeks, made major historic new commitments to much faster reductions in global warming pollution. The stage is set for the United States of America, under a new president, hopefully, to come back in as the natural leader of the global community and really take this climate crisis under control and start making the changes that can create millions of jobs and deal with this threat to the future of humanity. The same thing is true with the pandemic if we have a president who will listen to the scientists and listen to the doctors and not play politics with it. But to directly answer your question, I do not have fear. I have so much confidence in the American people, having seen and heard what they have seen and heard for 4 years. I have confidence that they're going to make an overwhelming judgment. I hope and pray I'm not wrong about that, but I feel confident in it because I'm confident in the American people.
Former vice president, former presidential nominee, former senator, and now the founder of the Climate Reality Project. Always welcome on this show. Thank you for the insight. Thank you for the gift of it to my audience. God bless you and the family.
Thank you, Chris, and to you and yours.
Thank you, sir. And look, this rounding the corner thing is not about political rhetoric, okay? And again, this is costing you guys your wellness and, in some cases, your lives. The pandemic is not going to go away no matter who wins this election. It's going to be about plans and people doing the right things. I own when I don't do the right thing. This president has to as well. And I'll tell you what, Joe Biden said that he wants to put together a commission to find out what happened with those 545 kids and their parents on the border. I'll tell you a commission that should happen before that. If he is fortunate enough to get enough of your votes to become president of the United States, he should put together a commission to find out what happened with the pass-through of legitimate scientific information from the people who had it to this president and why it didn't get to you. Because it is literally making us sick and literally killing us. We have a president who will not acknowledge what he knows to be true because he believes it's better for him even if you get sick. Left, right, and reasonable. Vote for Trump. That's fine. Do not make yourself sick just to make a political point. What do we see in the polls? What do we see in the road to 270? Am I right or wrong about Florida? Is it a want for Biden but a must for Trump? Or is it really a must for both of them? The Wiz will tell us. Next.
Air quality update in association with Copernicus, Europe's eyes on Earth. Quality update in association with Copernicus, Europe's eyes on Earth.
The race ends here. Election night in America. The way only CNN can bring it to you. Welcome to CNN special coverage from the first votes to the critical count.
Joe Biden could win the presidency without winning Ohio.
Understand what's happening in your state and across the country. Watch with the most trusted name in news.
We have a major projection right now.
Election night in America, Wednesday on CNN.
I'm Wolf Blitzer. Hey, Charles Barkley.
Jake Tapper here.
I'm fortunate to have a role in this world.
Where I get to use my voice.
Well, come November 3rd, every American
Gets to use our voice.
to vote.
To vote.
To vote.
It requires no words at all.
But will be heard forever.
No matter where in the world you live.
Or how you do it.
Please.
Please, let your voice be heard. To open doors, to develop contacts, and to unlock secrets, it takes trust.
It was the first time he really came out of his shell in front of a camera.
Trust that you'll listen,
So great that you're here today. It just highlights what's making a difference.
that you'll be honest. I don't want to pry, but what sort of conversations do you have with them? Trust that you'll be accurate and you'll be fair. It was unprecedented, very eerie. All the roads have been closed off. Describe the scene that you arrived to. The Apache attack helicopter. This is what Captain Wales has been flying. What do you do with Crimea?
This is Europe's problem.
Do you want talks with them? What is the point of talking? We continue to monitor the government in crisis. This was the Duchess's first news interview. Rare access indeed. That's what it's all about. Max Foster, CNN.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
My name is Angelica Donati. I'm currently based in Rome, and I'm the head of business development at Donati SPA, which is a construction firm which specializes in infrastructure works. The beginning of the pandemic was really scary for me, quite simply because we had no idea what was going on. Italy was at the forefront in Europe. The only experience anybody had of it was in China. When you don't know what you need to be afraid of and you don't know what the situation truly is, it amplifies all your feelings. But it was a very strong sense of community. In our personal experience, when we had a moment at the start of the lockdown where nobody could find any face masks, and we managed to procure some through our company that we ended up giving to all our friends. And people were doing favors for each other because we just wanted to all make sure that our friends and family and neighbors were as safe as could be.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
5 days out. We can count on one hand now. This is the key moment. Where do things stand? Nationally, you'll see polls putting Joe Biden up 12 points over Trump pretty consistently. Strong lead, but back in 2016, Hillary Clinton also had a strong lead. She was up to 9 points ahead on a lot of polls, all right? Now, given how that went, should Democrats really take comfort in any numbers
뭐야,
this time
지금
around?
조
No, it's that
바이든이
suggestion. The guy who lives and
조금 더
dies by the
유리할 것
numbers,
같은데.
the Wizard of Odds, Harry Enton. But I give you a chance to defend your craft. Why should we feel any differently this time than people did in assessing the election in 2016?
Well, first off, I'm glad that you can count up to 5. I wasn't quite
다음
sure, but you
주죠.
just did it. So
다음
listen.
주 화요일인가?
And I didn't say I could count
11월
on one
2일.
hand. Go ahead.
Whatever.
아니,
Just take
5일
a look at this
남았구나.
electoral map. I think it gets right to the point here.
Go ahead.
Let's take a look at the polling averages,
금,
okay?
토,
And
일.
let's in each of the states,
맞네,
and then
화요일.
let's say that the polling averages are as wrong as they were in 2016. What would be the result? Well, the result would be that Joe Biden would still win in the Electoral College with 335
조 바이든이
electoral
더
votes. Now,
유리하네.
obviously, the polls could be more wrong than they were in 2016, but even if you take that discount in of the polls being as wrong as they were in 2016, Joe Biden is still a clear favorite in the contest that matters. That is the contest for 270 electoral votes.
Before you answer the rest of the question about why it's different than with Clinton, Florida, I say Biden wants it, Trump needs it. That there is no viable, realistic path for Trump without it. There is with Biden. Is that true, or is it really true that both of them need it?
한국
Because
벽벽이
Biden needs to
20개
stop Trump, and if he
마지막으로
stops
한
Trump
번만
in
더
Florida,
하고
he stops him, period.
I think those are two sides of the same coin, right? I mean,
그림자 때문에
Donald Trump does not win the state of
그래요,
Florida.
빛이
It's
있어서.
very, very difficult to draw
한국 벽벽이
electoral map
20개만 더
where
하고
he gets 270 electoral votes. But if Joe
씻고
Biden loses the state
출근하겠습니다.
of Florida, then he could still pull
금요일,
off wins in
오늘
the Clinton
출근,
states plus Pennsylvania
내일
plus
토요일에
Michigan plus
출근하면은
Wisconsin, where he has 5-point leads or
쉬는
greater in all
날
three of those states. And that would get him to 278
죽지가 않지, 왜?
electoral votes. So yes, I agree with you 100%.
오늘도 날씨가 되게 좋아 보여.
Biden would love to have Florida. He would not Trump
운동하겠습니다.
out right away, but Trump really needs the Sunshine State.
Okay, now why Biden isn't Clinton part 2? Why?
I mean, just take a look at the favorable ratings, right? Look, Hillary Clinton was not very well liked heading into the 2016 election. Our final CNN poll, her favorable rating was 46% among likely voters. Her unfavorable rating was above 50%. Look at our latest CNN poll. What do you see? Joe Biden's favorable rating is 55%, a majority. And this is a key fact about the 2016 election. The reason Donald Trump won was because among the 18% of the electorate that had an unfavorable view of both he and Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump won that group by 17 points.